Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Idiot Person stream or channel, depending on where you're watching it, YouTube or Twitch. As I say, welcome to the Idiot Person, because you'll see in a minute. Anyway, hello, welcome. Yeah, back telling tales or reading books that are uh, available for us on PDF and are for free on Project Gutenberg Press, Project Gutenberg Press. Links everywhere. Great place for some oldie tales. And at the moment, I'm reading Paradise Lost, a poem in 10 books. And now this is where I'm an idiot, because the last two episodes I've said were book 7. They were actually book 8. I missed book 7. Whoops. Yeah, as I said, I'm an idiot. Welcome to the Idiot channel. And so the next two episodes are going to be book 7. Again, this is actually a longer book than the first 6. Book 8 was also in 2 parts. Book 7 will be in 2 parts. Book 7 is a little bit shorter than book 8. But yes, we shall get through this. Also, apparently time in America changed because summertime has happened, or daylight saving, or whatever you want to call it. When we say summertime, well, everything here is summertime. It's always fiery flame. So Mexico doesn't do it. So, just a random bit of information there for you. Anyway, grab yourself a drink. I got some dirty Dr. Pepper, which is actually cold because I'm hot. I look a bit flustered because I am flustered. I've been home all of about 15 minutes. Anyway, grab yourself a drink, sit back, and enjoy the tale. Paradise Lost by John Milton. Book 7. Descended from heaven, Urania, by that name, if rightly thou art called, whose voice divine following, above the Olympian hill I saw, above the flight of Pegasean wings, the meaning, not the name I call, for thou, nor of the Muses 9, nor on the top of Olympus dwellest, but heavenly born, before the hills appeared or fountain flowed, though with eternal wisdom didst converse, wisdom thy sister, and with her display, in presence of thy almighty Father, pleased with thy celestial song. Upled by thee into heaven of heavens I have presumed, an earthly guest, and drawn imperial air, thy tempering. With like safety guided down, return to me my native element, lest from this flying steed unreined, as once Bellerophon, though from a lower clime, dismounted, on the Illyrian field I fall erroneous, there to wander and forlorn, half yet remained unsung, but narrower bound within visible diurnal sphere. Standing on earth, not wrapped above the pole, more safe, I sing with mortal voice, unchanged to hoarse or mute, though fallen on evil days, though fallen in evil tongues, in darkness and with dangers compassed road, and solitude, yet not alone, while thou visitest my slumbers nightly, or whom morn purples the east, still govern thou my song, Urania, and fit audience, though few. But drive far off the barbarous dissonance of Bacchus and his revellers, the race of what wild rout that tore the Thracian bard in Rhodope, where woods and rocks had ears to rapture, till the savage clamour drowned both harp and voice, nor could the muse defend her son. So fail not thou who thee implores, for thou art heavenly, she an empty dream, say goddess. What ensued when Raphael, the affable archangel, had forewarned Adam by dire example to beware apostasy? By what befell in heaven to those apostates, least the like befall in paradise to Adam or his race, charged not to touch the interdicted tree, if they transgress and slight the sole command so easily obeyed amid the choice of all tastes, else to please their appetite. Though wondering, he with his consorted Eve the story heard attentive, and was filled with admiration. The deep mused to hear of all things so high and strange, things to their thought, so unimaginable as hate in heaven, and war so near the peace of God in bliss with such confusion. But the evil soon driven back rebounded, as a flood on those from whom it sprung, impossible to mix with blendedness. Whence Adam soon replied, the doubts that in his heart arose, and now led on, yet sinless, with desire to know what ne'er might concern him, how this world of heaven and earth conspicuous first began, when and whereof created, for what cause, what within Eden or what without was done before his memory, as one whose drouth yet scarce allied still eyes the current stream, whose liquid murmur heard new thirst excites, proceeded thus to ask his heavenly guest. Great things and full of wonder in our ears, far differing from this world, thou hast revealed, divine interpreter, by favour sent, down from Empyrean to forewarn us timely of what might else have been our loss, unknown, which human knowledge could not reach, for which to the infinity good we owe immortal thanks, and his admonishment receive with solemn purpose to observe immutably his sovereign will, the end of what we are. But since thou hast vouchsafed gently for our instruction to impart things above earthly thought, which yet concern our knowing, as to highest wisdom seem, deign to descend now lower and relate what may no less perhaps avail us know. How first began this heaven which we beheld distant so high, with moving fires adorned innumerable, and this which yields or fills all space, the ambient air wide interfused, embracing round this florid earth. What cause moved the Creator so late to build in chaos, and the work begun, how soon absolved, if unforbid thou mayst unfold what we, not to explore the secrets, ask of his eternal empire? But the more to magnify his works, the more we know, and the great light of day yet wants to run. Much of his race, though steep, suspends in heaven, held by thy voice. Thy potent voice he hears, and longer will delay to hear thee tell his generation and the rising birth of nature from the unapparent deep. Or if the star of evening and the moon haste to thy audience, night with her will bring silence and sleep, listening to thee will watch, or we can bid his absence till thy song end, and dismiss thee ere the morning shine. Thus Adam his illustrious guests besought. And thus the godlike angel answered mild, this also thy request with caution asked. Obtain, though to recount almighty works, what words of tongue of seraph can suffice, or hearts of man suffice to comprehend? Yet what thou canst attain, which best may serve to glorify the Maker, and infer thee also happier, shall not withhold thy hearing. Such commission from above I have received, to answer thy desire of knowledge within bounds. Beyond abstain to ask, nor let thine interventions hope. Things not revealed which thy invisible King, only omniscient, hath suppressed in night, to none communicate in heaven, in earth or heaven. Enough is left besides to search and know. But knowledge is as food, and needs no less her temperance over appetite, to know in measure what the mind may well contain, oppresses else with surfeit, and soon turns wisdom to folly, as nourishment to wind. Know then that after Lucifer from heaven, so call him brighter once amidst the host of angels, then that star the stars among, fell with his flaming legions through the deep into his place, and the great sun returned victorious with his saints. The omnipotent eternal Father from his throne beheld their multitude, and to his Son thus spake, At least our envious foe hath failed, who thought all like himself rebellious, by whose aid this inaccessible high strength, the seat of deity supreme, us dispossessed. He trusted to have seized, and into fraud drew many, whom their place knows here no more, yet far the greater part have kept, I see, their station. Heaven yet populous retains number sufficient to possess her realms, though wide, and this high temple to frequent with ministries due and solemn rites. But least his heart exalt him in the harm already done, to have dispeopled heaven. My damage fondly deemed I can repair their detriment, if such it be to lose self lost, and in a moment will create another world, one out of man, a race of men innumerable, there to dwell, not here till by degrees of merit raised, there open to themselves at length the way up hither under long obedience tried, and heaven and earth be changed to heaven, and heaven to earth, one kingdom, joy and union without end. Meanwhile inhibit lax, ye powers of heaven, and thou my word begotten Son, by thee this I perform. Speak thou, and be it done. My overshadowing spirit and might with thee I send along, ride forth, and bid the deep within anointed bounds by heaven and earth, boundless the deep, because I am who fill infinitude, nor vacuous the space. Yeah. Though I uncircumscribed myself retire, and put not forth my goodness, which is free to act or not, necessity and chance approach not me, and what I will is fate. So spake the Almighty, and to what he spake his word, the filial Godhead gave effect. Immediate are the acts of God, more swift than time or motion, but to human ears cannot without process of speech be told. So told as earthly notion can receive, great triumph and rejoicing was in heaven, when such was heard declared the Almighty's will. Glory they sung to the Most High, goodwill to future men, and in their dwellings peace. Glory to him whose just avenging ear had driven out the ungodly from his sight, and the habitations of the just. To him glory and praise, whose wisdom has ordained good out of evil to create, instead of spirits malign a better race to bring into their vacant room, and thence diffuse his good to worlds and angels infinite. So sang the hierarchies. Meanwhile the sun on this great expedition now appeared, girt with omnipotence, with radiance crowned of majesty divine, sapience and love immense, and all his Father in him shone. About his chariot numberless were poured cherub and seraphim, potentates and thrones and virtues, winged spirits and chariots winged. From the armoury of God, where stand of old myriads between two brazen mountains, lodged against a solemn day, harness at hand, celestial equipage, and now came forth spontaneous from within them spirit lived, attendant on their Lord. Heaven opened wide, her ever during gates harmonious sound on golden hinges moving, to let forth the King of Glory in his powerful world and spirit coming to create new worlds. On heavenly ground they stood, and from the shore they viewed the vast immeasurable abyss, outrageous as sea, dark, wasteful, wild, up from the bottom turned by furious winds and surging waves, as mountains to assault heaven's height, and with the centre mixed the pole. Silence, ye troubled waves, and thou deep peace, said then the omnific word, your discord end. Nor stayed, but on the wings of cherubim, uplifted in paternal glory, rode far into chaos and the world unborn. For chaos heard his voice, him all his train followed in bright procession to behold creation and the wonders of his might. Then stayed the fervid wheels, and in his hand he took the golden compasses, prepared in God's eternal store. To circumscribe this universe, all created things, one foot he centered and the other turned round through the vast profundity obscure, and said, thus far extend, thus far thy bounds, this be thy just circumference, O world. Thus God the heaven created, thus the earth, matter unformed and void, darkness profound covered the abyss, but on the watery calm his brooding wings the Spirit of God outspread, and vital virtue infused, and vital warmth throughout the fluid mass, but downward purged the black Tartarus cold infernal dregs, adverse to life. Then foundered, then conglobed, like things to like, the rest to several places departed, and between spun out the air, and earth self-balanced on her centre hung. Let there be light, said God, and forthwith light ethereal, first of things, quintessence pure, sprung from the deep, and from her native east to journey through the airy gloom began, sphered in a radiant cloud, from yet the sun was not. She in the cloudy tabernacle sojourned the while. God saw the light was good, and light from darkness by the hemisphere divided. Light the day, and darkness night he named. Thus was the first day, even and morn, nor passed uncelebrated nor unsung by the celestial choirs, when orient light, exhaling first from darkness, they beheld. Birthday of heaven and earth, with joy and shout, the hollow universal orb they filled, and touched their golden harps, and hymning praised God and his works, Creator hymn they sung, both when first evening was and when first morn. Again God said, let there be firmament amid the waters, and let it divide the waters from the water. And God made the firmament, expanse of liquid, pure, transparent, eternal air diffused, in circuit to the utmost convex. Of this great round partition firm and sure, the waters underneath from those above dividing. For as earth, so he the world built on circumfluous waters calm, in wide crystalline ocean, and the loud misrule of chaos far removed, lest fierce extremes contiguous might distemper the whole frame. And heaven he named the firmament. So even in the morning chorus sung the second day, the earth was formed, but in the womb as yet of waters, embryon immature involved appeared not. Over all the face of earth main ocean flowed, not idle, but with warm prolific humour, softening all her globe, fermented the great mother to conceive, satiate with genial moisture, when God said, be gathered now, ye waters under heaven, into one place, and let dry land appear. Immediately the mountains huge appear, emergent, and their broad bare backs upheave into clouds. Their tops ascend the sky, so high as heaved the tumid hills, so low down sunk a hollow bottom broad and deep, capacious bed of waters. Thither they hasted with glad precipitance unwild, as drops on dust conglobing from the dry part rising crystal wall or ridge direct. For haste, such flight the great command impressed on the swift fluids as armies at the call of trumpet, for of armies thou hast heard, troop to their standard, so the watery throng, wave rolling after wave, where way they found. If steep with torrent rapture, if through plain soft ebbing, nor withstood them rock or hill, but they, or underground, or circuit wide, with serpent error or wandering, found their way, and on their washy ooze deep channels wore, easy ere God had bid the ground to be dry, all but within these banks, where rivers now stream, the perpetual draw their humid train, the dry land, earth, and the great receptacle of congregated waters he called seas. And saw that it was good, and said, I wonder if you could hear the car alarm going off outside. And he saw that it was good. Karalam's lesser good, and said, let the earth put forth the verdant grass, herb yielding seed, and fruit tree yielding fruit after her kind, whose seed is in herself upon the earth. He scarce had said, when the bare earth till then desert and bare, unsightly unadorned, brought forth the tender grass, whose verdure clad her universal face with pleasant green. Then herbs of every leaf that sudden flowered, opening their various colours, and made gay her bosom, smelling sweet. And these scarce blown forth flourished thick. The clustering vine forth crept the smelling gourd. Up stood the corny reed, embattled in her field, and add the humble shrub and bush, with frizzled hair implicit. Last rose as in dance the stately trees, and spread their branches hung with copious fruit, or gemmed their blossoms with high woods. The hills were crowned with tuftsome valleys, and each fountain side with borders long the rivers. That earth now seemed like heaven, a seat where gods might dwell or wander with delight, and love to haunt her sacred shades, though God had yet not retained upon the earth, and man to till the ground none was, but from the earth a dewy mist went up and watered all the ground. And each plant of the field, whichever it was in the earth, God made, and every herb before it grew on the green stem. God saw that it was good, so even and morn recorded the third day. Again the Almighty spake, let there be lights high in the expanse of the heaven to divide the day from night, and let them be the signs for the seasons and for the days and the circling years, and let them be for lights as I ordain their office in the firmament of heaven to give light on earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, great for their use to man, the greater to have the rule by day, the less by night altern, and made the stars and set them in the firmament of heaven to illuminate the earth and rule the day in their vicissitude, and rule the night, and light from darkness to divide. God saw, surveying his great work, that it was good. For of celestial bodies first the sun, a mighty sphere he framed, unlightsome first, though of ethereal mould, then formed the moon, globose, and every magnitude of stars, and sowed with stars the heaven thick as a field. Of light by far the greater part he took, transplanted from her cloudy shrine, and placed in the sun's orb, made porous to receive and drink the liquid light, firm to retain her gathered dreams, great palace now of light, hither as to their fountain other stars repairing, in their golden urns draw light, and hence the morning planet gilds his horns. By tincture of reflection they augment their small peculiar, though from human sight so far remote with diminution seen. First in his east the glorious lamp was seen, regent of the day, and all the horizon round invested with bright rays, jocund to run his longitude through heaven's high road. The grey dawn and the Pleiades before him danced, shedding sweet influence. Less bright the moon, but opposite the levelled west was set his mirror, with full face borrowing her light from him. For other light she needed none in that aspect, and still the distance kept till night. Then in the east her turn she shines, revolved on heaven's great axle, and her reign with thousand lesser lights dividual holds, with thousand stars that then appeared, spangling the hemisphere, then first adorned with their bright luminaries that set and rose. Glad evening and glad morn crowned the fourth day, and God said, let the waters generate reptile with spawn abundant, living soul, and let fowl fly above the earth with wings displayed on the open firmament of heaven. And God created the great whales, and each soul living, each that crept, each with plenteously the waters generated by their kinds, and every bird of wing and after his kind, and saw that it was good, and blessed them, saying, be fruitful, multiply, and in the seas and lakes and running streams the waters fill, and let the fowl Fowl be multiplied on the earth, for within the sounds and seas, each creek and bay, with fray innumerable swarms, and shoals of fish with their fins and their shining scales glide under the green wave, in schools that oft bank the mid-sea, part single or with mate, graze the sea, weed their pasture, and through groves of coral stray, or sporting with quick glance, show to the sun their waved coats dropped with gold, or in their pearly shells at ease attend, moist nutrient, or under rocks their food in jointed armour watch, on smooth the seal and bended dolphins play, part huge of bulk, wallowing unwieldly, enormous in their gait, tempest the ocean. There, Leviathan, hugest of living creatures, on the deep stretched, like a promontory sleeps or swims, and seems a moving land, and at his gills draws in, and at his trunk spouts out to sea. Meanwhile, the tepid caves and fens and shores, the brood as numerous as hatch. From the egg that soon, bursting with kindly rapture, forth disclose the callow young, but feathered soon and fledged, they spurn their pens, and soaring the air sublime, with clang despise to the ground under a cloud in prospect, where the eagle and the stork on cliffs and cedar tops their eyries build, part loosely wing the region, part more wise in common, ranged in figure wedged their way, intelligent of seasons, and set forth their eerie caravan high over seas flying, and over lands with mutual wing, easing their flight. So steers the prudent crane her annual voyage, borne on winds the air floats as they pass, fanned with unnumbered plumes from branch to branch. The smaller birds with song solace the winds, and spread their painted wings, till even now nor then the solemn nightingale ceased warbling, but all night turned her soft lays over on silver lakes and rivers bathed, their downy breast and the swan with arched neck between her white wings mantling proud, rouse her state with hoary feet, yet oft they quit the dank, and rising on stiff pennons, tower the mid-aerial sky. Others on ground walked firm, the crested cock with clarion sounds, the silent hours, and the others, whose gay train adorns him, coloured with florid hue of rainbows and starry eyes. The waters thus with fish replenished, and the air with foul evening and morn solemnized the fifth day, the sixth, and the creation last arose, with evening harps and matin, when God said, let the earth bring forth fowl living to her kind, cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth, each in their kind. The earth obeyed, and straight opening her fertile womb, teemed at a birth innumerous living creatures, perfect forms, limbed and full grown, out of the ground uprose, as from his lair the wild beast, where he wanders in forest wild, in thicket, brake or den. Among the trees in pairs they rose, they walked the cattle in the fields and meadows green, those rare and solitary, those in flocks pasturing at once, and in broad herbs upsprung the grassy clods now carved. Now half appeared the tawny lion, pouring to get free his hinder parts, then spring as brake from bounds and rampant shakes his brinded mane, the ounce, the leopard, and the tiger, as the mole rising the crumbled earth above them threw in hillocks. The swift stag from underground bore up his branching head, scarce from his mould, behemoth, biggest born of earth, upheaved his vastness, fleeced the flocks, and bleating rose as plants ambiguous between sea and land, the river horse and scaly crocodile. At once came forth whatever creeps the ground, insect or worm, those waved their limber fans for wings and smallest lineaments, exact in the liveries decked of summer's pride, with spots of gold and purple, azure and green. These as a line their long dimension grew, streaking the ground with sinuous trace. Not all minions of nature, some of serpent kind, wondrous in length and corpulence involved their snaky fowls, and added wings. First crept the parsimonious emmet, provident of future, in small room large heart enclosed, pattern of just equality perhaps, hereafter joined in her popular tribes of commonality. Swarming next appeared the femal bee that feeds her husband drone deliciously, and builds her waxen cells with honey stored, the rest are numberless, and thou their natures knowest, and gavest their names, needless to thee repeat, nor unknown the serpent's subtlest beast of all the field, of huge extent sometimes with brazen eyes and hairy mane terrific, though to thee not noxious, but obedient as thy call. Now heaven in all her glory shone around her motions as the great first movers' hand first wheeled their course. Earth in her rich attire, consummate lovely smiled. Air, water, earth, by fowl, fish, beast was flown, was swung, was walked frequent, and of the sixth day yet remained. There wanted yet the master work, the end of all yet done. A creature who not prone and brute as the other creatures, but endured with sanctity of reason, might erect his stature, and upright with front serene govern the rest, self-knowing, and from thence magnanimous to correspond with heaven, but grateful to acknowledge whence his good descends, thither with heart and voice and eyes directed in devotion, to adore and worship God supreme, who made him chief of all his works. Therefore the omnipotent eternal Father, for where is not he present, thus to his Son audibly spake, Let us make now man in our image, man in our similitude, and let them rule over the fish and fowl of the sea, and air and over the fish and fowl of sea and air, beast of the field, and over all the earth, and every creeping thing that creeps the ground. This said, he formed thee, Adam, thee, O man, dust of the ground, and in thy nostrils breathed the breath of life. In his own image he created thee, in the image of God express, and thou becamest a living soul. Male he created thee, but thy consort female for race, then blessed mankind and said, Be fruitful, multiply and fill the earth, subdue it, and throughout dominion hold over fish of the sea and fowl of the air, and every living thing that moves on earth. Wherever thus created, for no place is yet distinct by name, thence, as thou knowest, he brought thee into this delicious grove, this garden, planted with the trees of God, delectable both to behold and taste, and freely all their pleasant fruit for food gave thee. All sorts are here that all thy earth yields, variety without end. But of the tree which tasted works knowledge of good and evil, thou mayest not. In the day thou eatest, thou didst death, is the penalty imposed. Beware, and govern well thy appetite, lest sin surprise thee, and her black attendant death. Here finished he, and all that he made good. Viewed and behold, all was entirely good. So even and morn accomplished the sixth day, yet not till the Creator from his work desisting, though unwearied, up return, up to the heaven of heavens high, his high abode, thence to behold this new created world, the addition of his empire, how it shrewd in prospect from his throne, how good, how fair, answering his great idea. Up he rode, followed with acclamation and the sounds symphonious of 10,000 harps that turned angelic harmonies. The earth, the air resounded. Thou rememberest, for thou heardest. The heavens and all the constellations rung. The planets in their stations listening stood, while the bright pomp ascended jubilant. Open, ye everlasting gates, they sung. Open, ye heavens, your living doors. Let in the great Creator from his works returned. Magnificent, his six-day work, a world open and henceforth oft. For God will deign to visit oft the dwellings of just men delighted. and with frequent intercourse thither will send his winged messengers on errands of supernal grace. So sung the glorious train ascending. He through heaven that opened wide her blazing portals led to God's eternal house. Direct the way, a broad and ample road, whose dust is gold and pavement stars as stars to thee appear, seen in the galaxy, that Milky Way, which nightly as a circling zone thou seest, proud with stars, and now on earth the seventh evening arose in Eden. For the sun was set, and twilight from the east came on, forerunning night, when at the holy mount of heaven's high-seated top the imperial throne of Godhead, fixed for ever firm and sure, the filial power arrived and sate him down with his great Father. For he also went invisible, yet stayed. Such privilege hath omnipresence, and the work ordained author and end of all things, and from work now resting, blessed and hallowed the seventh day, as resting on that day from all his work, but not in silence wholly kept. The harp had work and rested not. The solemn pipe and dulcimer, all organs of sweet stop, all sounds on fret by string of golden wire, tempered soft tunings, intermixed with voice choral or unison, of incense clouds fuming with golden censers, hid their mount. Creation and the 6 days' acts they sung. Great are thy works, Jehovah, infinite thy power. What thought can measure thee, or tongue relate thee? Greater now in thy return than from the great angels thee that day thy thunders magnified. But to create is greater than created to destroy. Who can impair thee, mighty king, or bound thy empire? Easily the proud attempt of spirits apostate, and their counsels vain thou hast repelled, while impiously they thought thee to diminish, and from thee withdraw the number of thy worshippers. Who seeks to lessen thee, against his purpose serves to manifest more thy might. His evil thou usest, and from thence createst more good. Witness this new made world, another heaven from heaven gate not far, founded in view on the clear higher line, the glassy sea of amplitude almost immense, with stars numerous, and every star perhaps a world of destined habitation. But thou knowest thy seasons. Among these the seat of men, earth with her nether ocean circumferenced, their pleasant dwelling place, thrice happy men and sons of men, whom God hath thus advanced, created in his image, there to dwell and worship him, and in reward to rule over his works on earth, in sea or air, and multiply a race of worshippers, holy and just, thrice happy if they know their happiness, and preserve upright. So sung they, and the imperium rung with hallelujahs. Thus was Sabbath kept. And I think that is where we shall stop for today. Just over halfway through book 7, and yes, this is book 7 of Paradise Lost, a poem in 10 books. Because who needs a poem in one book? Let's make a really long poem. So yeah, there we go. We shall be back next week for the second part of book 7. And then if my calendar is correct, I will not be here the week after. I think next week's the 18th, and then I'm on a holiday, Easter holiday, spring break, whatever you want to call it. I shall be on holiday, so I won't do that one. And then we shall be back for books 9 and 10 after that. So, I hope you enjoyed that. All that is left for me to say is, stop looking so tired. Thank you. Goodbye, my friends.